In this lecture, we will learn about the string functions that Python gives us access to. To start out, let's create a variable named example and set it equal to the string value ABC. We can use the starts with function to check if a string starts with a certain substring. For example, we will use an if statement and check if our string example starts with A. If that is the case, we will output string starts with A to the console. When we run the code, you will notice that the statement was output, since our example string ABC starts with the letter A. Similar to the starts with function, Python also gives us the ends with function to check if a string ends with a particular substring. For example, let's use an if statement and check if example ends with the letter C. If that is the case, we will print string ends with C to the console. When we run the code, you will notice that the statement was output, since our example string ABC does end with C. Python's upper function allows us to convert all of the letters in a string to uppercase. For example, we could print out example.upper. When we run the code, you will notice that our string that was ABC in all lowercase is now ABC in all uppercase. For the next example, we are going to change our string from ABC to the string hello world using all uppercase letters. Just like Python has an upper function that converts all of the letters in a string to uppercase, it also has a lower function that converts all of the letters in a string to lowercase. We will print out the result of example.lower. When we run the code, you will notice that hello world was printed to the console in all lowercase letters. For the next example, we will assign our string variable the value ABC. The capitalize function will capitalize the first letter in a string. For example, we can print out the result of a call to example.capitalize. When we run the code, you will notice that the A, the first letter in our string, was capitalized. Next, we will assign our example variable the string hello world with all lowercase letters. Python's title function will capitalize the first letter of each word. For example, we can print out the result of example.title. When we run the code, you will notice that the string was modified. As you can see, the H in hello and the W in world were capitalized. If you have programmed in other languages, you are probably somewhat familiar with what string formatting is. It is when you can substitute in variable values into a string using a format function, and usually using curly braces. Python also has a string format function. Let's look at an example of it. First, we will create a variable named price and set it equal to 10. Next, we are going to create a variable named text and set it equal to the string the item costs. Then we will have a pair of curly braces, and then the word dollars. The curly braces will be replaced with the actual item cost when the format function is used. Then we will print text.format and pass in price. When we run the code, you will notice that the output, the item costs $10, was printed to the console. For the next example, we will have a variable named text, set equal to happy birthday, with an exclamation mark at the end. Python's replace function allows us to replace one substring with another in a given string. Let's say we want to replace the exclamation mark at the end with an S, so that our text reads happy birthdays instead of happy birthday. We will print out the result of text.replace and pass exclamation mark in as the first argument and S as the second argument. When we run the code, you will notice that the exclamation mark was replaced by a lowercase s, just like we specified. The next example is going to be for Python's join function. To start off, we're going to create a variable named example and set it equal to a list with the string values A, B, and C. Next, we will have a variable named x and set it equal to the string dash and then call the join function on it. Into the function, we will pass an example as the argument to the join function. Join will take each element in the list and join them into one string, separated by the string we specify, which in this case is the dash or hyphen symbol. Finally, we will use Python's print function to output the value of x to the console. When we run the code, you will notice that one string was printed, A-B-C. For this next example, we are going to have a string variable set to a value of AA, BB, CC. Python's count function will count the number of times that a substring occurs in a string and return us that value. We will use the print function to print the result of example.countA. When we run the code, you will notice that 2 was printed to the console. The next example that we will look at will have a variable named text set equal to the string greetings from planet Earth. The find function will return us the index for the first occurrence of the substring we are searching for. For example, we can print the result of text.find and pass in the string e. When we run the code, you will notice that 2 was printed. Since indexing starts at 0, G is at index 0, R is at index 1, and E is at index 2. For the next example, we will set our text variable to the uppercase string ABC. The isUpper function will return true if every letter in a string is uppercase, and false otherwise. We will print the value of text.isUpper to the console. When we run the code, you will notice that true was printed since A, B, and C are all uppercase in our string. Just like the isUpper function, Python also has an isLower function that will check if each letter in the string is lowercase. We will first change the string to ABC in all lowercase letters. Then we will use Python's print function to print out the result of text.isLower to the console. When we run the code, you will notice that true was printed since the letters A, B, and C in our string are all lowercase. For the next example, our text string is going to consist of a space. We can use the isSpace function to check if our string only contains white space. The isSpace function will return true if the string contains all white space, and false otherwise. We will use Python's print function to output the result of text.isSpace to the console. When we run the code, you will notice that true was printed to the console. Next, we are going to want our string to contain all numbers, for example, 1, 2, 3. Then we will use Python's print function and pass in the result of a call to text.isNumeric. The isNumeric function will return true if any of the text within the string is a number. When we run the code, you will notice that true was printed since the string does contain digits. Similarly, Python gives us access to the isDigit function. If we use the isDigit function and then run the code, you will notice that true was printed. One question you may have is what is the difference between Python's isNumeric and isDigit functions? IsNumeric will return true if there are any numbers 0 through 9 in the string. IsDigit will only return true if every character in the string is a digit 0 through 9. Python also gives us the isTitle function to check for whether or not a string matches the criteria for a title. Recall from earlier in the lecture that a title means the first letter of each word is capitalized in a string. For this example, we will change our text variable to be hello world with a capital H and a capital W. Then we will print text.isTitle to the console. When we run the code, you will notice that true was printed since the string fits the criteria for a title. In the next lecture, we will learn about string concatenation.